What if I told you one of the most powerful conversions in history happened because of a single, life-altering encounter? The man we're talking about was once a fierce enemy of Christianity, but after a moment of divine revelation, he became one of its greatest champions. Today, we dive into the extraordinary journey of Saul of Tarsus, better known as the Apostle Paul, and the profound impact he left on the world. Stay tuned as we uncover the life and final days of a man who transformed from persecutor to preacher. The early life of Saul. Born around 5 or 10 AD in Tarsus, a city in modern-day Turkey, Saul came from a Jewish family rooted in the tribe of Benjamin. As a young man, he was zealous in his faith, a devout Pharisee who strictly adhered to Jewish law. But there was one thing he couldn't tolerate: Christians. Saul devoted himself to stamping out the followers of Jesus, going as far as to arrest both men and women. He was convinced that Christianity was a threat to the faith he held so dearly. But what happened next would turn Saul's life upside down, in a way no one could have predicted. His name would go down in history, not for the lives he destroyed, but for the thousands he would later help save. The miraculous encounter. It was on the road to Damascus, while Saul was on his way to hunt down more Christians, that something incredible happened. A bright light suddenly blinded him, and a voice boomed from the heavens. "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" It was none other than Jesus himself. Can you imagine what must have gone through Saul's mind in that moment? The very one he had been hunting down had appeared to him in a blinding flash of light. Shocked and terrified, Saul asked, "Who are you, Lord?" To which Jesus replied, "I am Jesus whom you are persecuting." This revelation would change everything. Saul was struck blind for 3 days, unable to eat or drink, and left in a state of complete dependence on God. But God had a plan for Saul, and this encounter was just the beginning. The conversion and early ministry. After 3 days, a disciple named Ananias was sent by God to restore Saul's sight. Ananias laid hands on him, and immediately Saul's vision was restored. But the transformation didn't stop there. Saul was baptized, his heart fully opened to the gospel, and he was forever changed. For the next 3 years, Saul retreated to Arabia, where he received direct teachings from Jesus Christ himself. This wasn't just any religious conversion, it was a complete overhaul of his entire life. No longer a persecutor, Saul now stood as a fierce advocate for the very faith he had once sought to destroy. From this moment, Saul, now known as Paul, began his missionary journey to spread the message of Christ. He traveled far and wide, through Greece, Asia Minor, Syria, and Palestine, establishing churches and spreading the good news. Paul's missionary journeys. Throughout his journeys, Paul wrote letters to the churches he established, letters that would eventually make up a large portion of the New Testament. These letters addressed theological, ethical, and practical matters, laying the foundation for Christian doctrine and practices for generations to come. But despite his success, Paul's life was not without its struggles. In fact, he faced countless hardships along the way. From shipwrecks to imprisonments, from beatings to constant danger, Paul endured it all. Yet, through each trial, his faith remained unshaken. Paul's struggles and sufferings. Paul's personal suffering was not only physical. In 2 Corinthians, he spoke about a thorn in the flesh, a mysterious affliction that kept him humble and reliant on God. He begged God to remove this affliction, but God responded, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." It's believed that this thorn may have been a physical ailment, perhaps even an eye disease, as Paul mentioned in his letter to the Galatians. Despite this, Paul continued his mission with relentless passion, preaching the gospel even in the face of intense personal suffering. Paul's prophetic foretelling of his death. But as Paul's ministry continued, so did the prophecies of his suffering. A prophet named Agabus warned Paul of the impending dangers in Jerusalem. He even tied himself up with Paul's own belt to demonstrate the fate that awaited him. Despite the warnings, Paul's resolve was unshaken. "What are you doing, crying and breaking my heart? I am ready not only to be bound but even to die in Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Jesus," Paul declared. His dedication to the gospel was unwavering, even in the face of certain death. Paul's final days after being arrested. In Jerusalem, Paul was sent to Rome to stand trial before Emperor Nero. Even under house arrest in Rome, Paul continued to spread the gospel. In fact, he even reached some of Nero's household, proving that nothing, not even imprisonment, could stop him from fulfilling his mission. It was during this time in prison that Paul wrote some of his most moving letters, including the second letter to Timothy, where he reflected on his journey. He wrote, "I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith." These words were his farewell, a final testament to his unwavering commitment to Christ. The death of Paul. Historians believe that around 67 AD, Paul was executed in Rome, likely by decapitation, as was customary for Roman citizens. Though his death was tragic, it was in line with the faith he had so devotedly lived for. He died with the unshakable conviction that eternal glory awaited him, and that his legacy would live on through the many churches and believers he had helped establish. Legacy of Apostle Paul. Though Paul's life ended in tragedy, his legacy lives on today. His letters continue to shape Christian doctrine, and his story serves as a powerful example of redemption and devotion to God's calling. So, how do we live in light of such a profound example? Paul's life reminds us that no matter where we start or how far we fall, God's grace has the power to transform us and to use us for His greater purpose. If you found this video inspiring, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. For more incredible stories from history, turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next video, and leave a comment below with your thoughts on Paul's legacy. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, a big hug from us.